getting out of debt of 500k with your family and coming here today, just running one of the best businesses in e-commerce, helping people, teaching them the e-commerce and let them going into their financial freedom.
Back then, it was the worst times of my life, the worst times. After I went out of it and I remember it, I say, I'm blessed that I passed through every single thing. I used to come from a rich family background. We were doing good. We had 2 family businesses in Beirut, Lebanon. Everything was good. And suddenly, I just graduated from high school and I was just turning 18. And the summer in between high school and university, I still remember I was out with my friends. I got a call from my mom and she tells me, you have to come home ASAP. We have a family meeting. And then we went to the meeting and I know that my family was hiding something from us, which is a huge bankruptcy, which was occurring in the family business. For example, my dad he was diagnosed with pre-cancer, so he had to stay at home. We had no other solution but to sell everything we owned. So we had a house, we sold it for probably 50% the price. We sold our 3 cars. I was forced to not go to a university. I had to drop out. We moved out with our grandfathers, us 4 in the family. We lived in literally 1 room. We sold our shop, and that's where our debt went down from almost $1.3 million to $500,000. I need to do something about it. So it's either I get a job and it will take me 65 years to close the debt and then start my life from scratch, or I need to do something else. And then I decided to go have a job by a marketing agency just to get their secrets. I still have the balance sheet from this month. From the first month, we made $66,000. All what I did was change the price, change the branding, and finally, I did ads in the right way for the first time possible.
How did you start the e-commerce?
Amazing.
How did you start it?
So we started a very small course in 2021. It was very small, probably 3% of the program we started now. So actually the big portion of our students started from a very low budget. And even on my profile, as you see, I always shed light on my students' result. I barely talk on myself. I always try to push them. So if you go on my highlights, we now have over 900 reviews. You don't have to be right every time. You just have to be right one time.
Can you tell me your feeling when you went for your family?
I still remember this day. I just went to Dad because I believe my dad is one of the smartest people in this business, in the food business. But unfortunately, it wasn't in his hand of what happened with him. So he was backstabbed, he was sick, everything was happening with him.
All at the same time, yeah.
All at the same time. And that's where I said, no, okay, how much do we still have debt? He said almost 400 and something, because every month he was selling something and giving and all of this. I said, no, you have 0 debt. And that's where we all cried. It was very emotional, but it was, up until this day, the best moment of my life.
Jad, are you ready to unleash?
100%. We're born ready.
Not 200%?
Up to 1,000.
It's a pleasure having you today.
Thank you so much.
I know that we have just connected since a long time, but finally we have you today.
Thank you so much.
Before I start, I got inspired by your story. Lovely story. If you just come back, like many years back, and I want you to take me through step by step your story, getting out of debt of 500k with your family and coming here today, just running one of the best businesses in e-commerce, helping people, teaching them the e-commerce and let them going into their financial freedom. Take me step by step.
Amazing. Awashi, it's a huge pleasure that I'm here. I'm also a huge fan of your work and your guests and everything you're doing on this podcast. So thank you so much. It's my honor to be here.
Thank you.
And okay, so at first, I love actually sharing this story because back then, it was the worst times of my life. The worst times. After I went out of it, and I remember it, I say, I'm blessed that I passed through every single thing. And now you'll understand more. I was 18 years old. I won't lie. I used to come from a rich family background. We were doing good. We had 2 family businesses in Beirut, Lebanon. Everything was good. And suddenly, I just graduated from high school. And I was just turning 18. And the summer in between high school and university, I still remember I was out with my friends. I got a call from my mom. And she tells me, you have to come home ASAP. We have a family meeting. Yani, we want to sit and talk about something. I was this 18 years old whose dad has a business. Everything's going good. I had a car before I turned 18. I was privileged, alhamdulillah. I didn't need anything. And to be honest, I had my life figured out. I just finished high school. I will go to a fancy school of business in Beirut. Everything's going good. I didn't actually think about my next step. And then we went to the meeting, and I know that my family was hiding something from us, which is a huge bankruptcy, which was occurring in the family business. Look, it was a compilation of more than 100 things. Yani, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things, even up until now, I forgot. But it was a compilation of hundreds of things. I'll tell you a couple of the top ones. For example, we used to have a warehouse with inventory of over $1 million of food supplies and all of this. It got stolen, it got burned, it didn't have insurance, a lot of things. For example, my dad he was diagnosed with pre-cancer, so he had to stay at home, and Hunique, all of the managers have made use of my dad not being in the business. Like what else? A lot of things happened, which accumulated. And like a small technical thing is that because we had no more inventory, which was on credit, because this food business always works on credit base, and we had to buy new inventory because our shelves started to go empty, and we had to pay for the old ones, and we had to pay for the new ones, and you don't have inventory to sell. And plus, at the same time, which ignited all of this, is that my dad took a loan from the bank, probably a year before it, to expand, and he went in a very big investment with someone who was like, he so claimed a big investor outside Lebanon. He wasn't Lebanese. And that's where it turned out to be also a scam. So again, and there's over 5-6 things that actually happened. Long story short, we saw, and what was hard about this, was everything happened really fast. Yani, we didn't have time to plan. I was still 18. I didn't worry about anything. We had to cope with my dad being sick, with our entire business going into rashes. Everything turned upside down.
You were 18 at that time.
Yes, I just turned 18. Yeah, I remember I turned 18 in Feb. This happened close to July, August. And that's where, our debt started to accumulate and accumulate on almost 3-4 months. And that's where khalas, we had no other solution but to sell everything we own. So we had a house, we sold it for probably 50% the price because we had to pay it really fast before the bank actually takes it. We sold our 3 cars. I was forced to not go to a university. I had to like drop out. We sold everything we owned, everything from my mom's accessories to the smallest rug at home. We moved out with our grandfathers, like us 4 in the family. We lived in literally 1 room. We sold our shop. It was owned by us. We sold it. Our warehouse was rented, so it wasn't a problem. We sold all the assets, everything. And that's where our debt went down from almost $1.3 million to $500,000. And the thing is that the debt, it was not from one person only. It was from a variety of suppliers and companies and a lot of people. And there are some people who would understand, because like there's a lot of those suppliers who worked with my dad for 30 plus years. But there are new ones who didn't actually understand what's happening. And it's their right. Like, I want my money now. He wants his money now. And that's where a lot of things accumulated. Long story short, I had to do something about it. Like, that's where I knew, and it's a thing which I was blessed to have. And it's a very important character trait for every entrepreneur who's growing right now is don't stress on what you cannot control. So I can't control anything. Khalas, everything happened. We're here now. If I nag or I feel sad about it or I feel angry about it, it happened. And it wasn't easy. And I still remember.
At 18.
At 18. And I still remember, Ahmed, I swear to God, like there are days where I can never forget a supplier who wants probably $30,000-$40,000 from my dad. He comes to our grandfather's house. He knocks on the door and come out now. I want my money. I want money. I can't forget those days. I can never forget those days. Again, back then, it was the worst days of my life. And that's where I said, khalas, I need to do something about it. So it's either I get a job and it will take me 65 years to close the debt and then start my life from scratch. Oh, I need to do something else. I had nothing to lose. Yani, a blessing which happened, no, I didn't have two options. I didn't have an option of a safe haven, a job, a good life, an average life, or entrepreneurship. It's risky, it might not work. I didn't have two options. I had one option. And Jad, that's something I'm very happy about. I was forced to get outside the box. And that's where, step one, I actually went and got a job. Best, I got a job at a toy store. It's called Hallmark. I don't know if you know it. It's an international franchise. And I got a job there to at least bring food on the table. Best. And I used to finish at 5 p.m. Min 5 p.m. lal 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I'm just learning skills on YouTube. Skills. And
what kind of skills?
Exactly. أول skill, look, هيدي صارت in 2013. So back then, ads on Facebook and media buying and Google ads, it was still new. It was something which...
But why you choose this one?
Yes. Look, from ever since I was young, I was very interested in sales and marketing. I have videotapes of myself. I was 4 years old. Of course, you've owned one in your life. Who action figures of wrestlers, John Cena, and those small action figures. So I used to have them. I have videotapes of myself. I'm wrapping two action figures together. I'm placing them on the door of my room with a paper, sale, $20 x $10. So it was in me. And that's where I was really interested in digital skills. It was still new, it was still fresh. And that's where I decided, no, I want to learn. The very first skill I learned, it was Google Ads. And that's where I used to take projects. And I learned the skill today. I train on it a little bit. A week or 2 weeks from today, I get a client for as low as $50. And the average project, which you can charge for back then, $500, $800, $1,000, I used to charge $50. I needed the money. And my entire salary from Hallmark was very close to $300. Yes, yes, it was $300. So I learned it. I started to freelance. The moment I started to hit the $300 mark, I stopped Hallmark. So I bought myself 9 extra hours. And that's where I started to freelance more and more.
How long does it take from you to just get out from your job?
At Hallmark, I worked for exactly a little bit less than 5 months. Yes.
And then you just fully dedicate yourself for that
freelance,
skill.
On freelance. Everything was on freelance. And that's where I thought, no, okay, I need to up my level a little bit. And then I decided to go have a job by a marketing agency just to get their secrets, to be able to know really how to target the big clients. So I worked with a regional agency. It's amazing. It's based in Saudi Arabia and they had a small office in Beirut. I went there. And by the way, here's a small tip. I know it's too early for this, but here's a small tip, which every time I go on a podcast, I say it. Whatever you do in life, be the best at it. When I was at Hallmark, I worked for 4.5 months. I swear to God, for 4 months, I was the employee of the month. And then I worked at the agency. From the first week, I was promoted to the head of the entire department. I was the youngest. I was literally the youngest. I was 20 and a half. So that's where I worked for an agency. I worked also for 5 months. Because of course, I had a bigger salary. It started at $800. And then after her promotion, it went up to $1,200. It was very good. I love the CEO. I'm still friends with him up until now. And that's where I quit. I knew that I can't work at any place. I need to really unleash everything I have inside me. And then that's where I went back to freelancing. And
But you got the secret from them, how it's
Yes,
working with,
100%.
I would say, medium or high ticket.
100%. So I was able to understand, okay, the highest freelance job I got was $100. How can they get a project for $3,000? And that's where I understood by the way you approach them in terms of sales, in terms of a portfolio, for example. I did not know the real meaning of having a portfolio. And that's where I understood everything. And I helped them a lot. But that's when I just told them, I'm leaving as soon as you find someone else. I trained them, I'll do everything for them, and then I have to leave. I left, started everything back into freelancing, but now a little bit more. Like I started landing those $800, $600 projects. And then came the opportunity which turned my entire life upside down, which is I had a friend who knows someone who started an e-commerce brand. And that was the first time I tapped into e-commerce. It was a health and beauty product in Beirut, Lebanon. And back in the time, there were very few e-com businesses. We're speaking 3-4 e-com businesses. Of course, here the ones that are international brands and turned online, but an only online store. There was probably like 4 or 5. And they had a store, and at least they were averaging $3,000 a month in sales. And that's where he called me. He told me, no, I was referred to him by a friend. He got me, and he told me, if you take $500 and run the entire show, the ads, our social media management. And back then, like it was a completely rare game. And that's where I said yes, but under a small request. I want 10% of the sales. He told me, but I told you $500. And if you want 10% of our sales, it's literally $300. And that's why I said, I don't care. I want Ashab al-Miya of this project. And that's when he said, okay.
Show me first.
100%.
Yeah. Give me the cake.
Exactly. I swear to God, Ahmed. I swear, I still have the balance sheet from this month. From the first month, we made $66,000. All what I did was change the price, change the branding, and finally, I did ads in the right way for the first time possible. $66,000. I made $6,600. My highest income was a $600 client or an $800 client.
What was your feeling?
Wow. Look, I was insanely astonished. And that's where I said, I did not think, I made more money, I can buy more things. No, the only thing I was channeled through was I can close the family debt faster.
Yeah.
And that's
because you have a reason.
100%. 100%. And that's where he called me. He's a great guy. I'm still in touch with him now. He's a great guy. And that's where he told me, I want you to literally run everything. Like,
for sure.
Even accounting, sales, operations, speak with suppliers. I'm traveling. You run the entire business and you take 30%. He told me, I don't want to hear anything about the brand. Not a single thing. I just want my payout to come by the end of the month. And that's when I said, okay, I'll do it. And that's where I remember it took us, like, we made $66,000 in in our first month. And then we went a little bit down, like to 55 or 59. And then a little bit down up to 50. And that's where we flew up. We did not close a single month below 100, 150K.
Wow.
We had months where we went up to 200, 250, 300K only from Lebanon. One country only. And that's where I started making 30, 40, 50, $100,000. And like 2-3 months. And that's where I said, okay, done. I need to keep on focusing. I swear to God, same lifestyle, same everything. And even I did not tell my parents. And because I wanted to make it as a huge surprise. I went there, very long story short, after a couple of months, close to a year, I came there, I closed the entire family debt.
How old were you just at that time after it?
Okay, around 23, around 22, 23, yes.
It took you like 4 years to close this?
Yes, max, yes. I started at 19 with the real work. Around 22, 23, the entire debt was closed.
Can you tell me your feeling when you went for your family? And how did they?
I still remember this day. I just went to dad because I believe my dad is one of the smartest people in this business, in the food business. But unfortunately, it wasn't, and Jad, it wasn't in his hand of what happened with him. So he was backstabbed, he was sick, everything was happening with him.
All at the same time, yeah.
All at the same time. And that's where I said, no, okay, how much do we still have debt? He said almost 400 and something, because every month he was selling something and giving and all of this. I said, no, you have zero debt. And that's where we all cried. It was very emotional, but it was, up until this day, the best moment of my life. Hands down, the best moment of my life. And that's what made me know the true meaning of money. The true meaning of money. A lot of people on social media try to go and shape money as if it's Lambos and Rolexes and parties and all of this. No, not at all. For me, real money is, of course it differs between everyone's goals. But in my case, it was making my family proud and happy. It was only this. And I saw it, and it changed my entire life. And everything I told you now probably is 20% of the story. But finally, like, okay, I would end this chapter. I made a lot of money. I closed my family debt. And then I reinvested a lot of the profits into 2 new e-com businesses on my own. And both in the health and beauty industry.
And you left the other job, right?
Yes. Like after probably 3 years being with them, it was closed. It was like the entire startup closed, and he went outside the country. And but I'm still on really good contacts with the guys.
How did you start the e-commerce?
Amazing.
How did you start it?
So my first, as mentioned, I came from a background of marketing. Through freelancing, and because of those people, I was introduced and I was forced into e-commerce. If I just treated them as a client with a monthly fee, I think I would have just stuck into the agency life or marketing ads, all of this. But that's where I felt e-commerce, and at the end of the day, it changed my life. Like I was able to close 95% of my family debt and start my life at a very early age because of e-commerce. And to a certain extent, if I want to say practically, I understood the entire sales funnel. I understood everything you need to have a successful e-com brand. And that's where I wanted to explore it more through my brands. And after I closed my family debt, I was able to reinvest in 2 other brands. And that's where a new brand and a new brand. And that's how it happened.
I love what you've done. And I understand and I know that you have more than 2,000 students in your lovely program.
We're almost 3,000.
3,000.
I think within a week we'll see 3,000.
Congratulations, really. It's very inspiring. Can you tell me, how did you start this from the idea phase into the implementation, inspiring people and open and unleash their potential and get them into financial freedom?
Amazing question. I kept on working only on my brands. I didn't have a social media page. I didn't have all of this. I was still channeled into my goals up until COVID hit, and we were all at home and we wanted to have fun. And our country was passing through a very hard financial situation, a very, very, very hard financial situation. And that's where I decided, okay, I have free time. I'm at home. We aren't at the office. So I want to open a page. And I just opened a page. Actually, I had my page opened on March 23, 2018, which was before COVID, a year or a year and a half. But it was only purely for fun. I did not even have a name on it. It was a fun page. But in COVID, I reactivated it. I went all in. I started going live, etc., etc. And a lot of people have respected me on what I'm doing because, look, in every industry, like, I could find a legit group of people or scammers or bad people or whatever, in any industry possible. But a lot of people in the coaching industry would make use, people aren't seeing them face to face to know if they're legit or not. So a huge thing which accelerated my growth on the page is that I've been in e-commerce for 6 years. I started in 2000 and almost the end of 2012 and 13. So it was almost
new.
Exactly. I spent almost 6 to 8 years before I started giving advice or starting teaching people. So I have over 300, 400 case studies with clients, with my brands, etc., etc. So a lot of people, it was easy to be identified as legit. And the entire page started as a free Instagram page. We've helped a lot of it. It grew really fast during COVID. And that's where I had a huge demand, please start a premium program, a mentorship program, etc., etc. But I have a rule in life. In any business, I told you about this once. I had a request ever from you, and I told you, if I want to take $1 or a percentage, even 0.5% from someone, I need to give 100%. So it's not like if a client pays me $10,000 for a service, I would do him 100%. If a client pays me $100, I'd give him 3%.
50%, yeah.
No. If I get paid $1 or a percent, I need to give it 100% because it's quality oriented. And that's where I delayed it once, twice, 3 times, up until I decided no, a lot of people actually want a premium mentorship program. So we started a very small course in 2021. It was very small, probably 3% of the program we started now. And I still remember the very first program. Actually, we had before it in 2 months. We had an event, a small event. Only 12 people showed up. It was a paid event. Then I did a small course.
In Dubai, huh?
No, in Beirut, Lebanon. Yes. 168 people joined in the first small course. And then I did a small course as well after a year, mid 2022, early 2022.
It was a recorded course.
100%. Actually, the small one, it was live on Zoom and it was recorded and sold again.
Okay.
Up until I decided, no, لا خلاص. I really enjoyed education. Look, a lot of people ask me, how are you claiming to help people if you're charging money? No. أول شيء, in front of everyone I say, it's a business. It makes me money. But I have hundreds of other projects which can make me money. Here, it makes me money, plus I'm passionate about it.
Yeah. And you leave an impact even
100%. 100%. It was combined together. I decided, okay, I want to turn it into a huge educational business. And what really made it, هلا our program is the fastest growing in the entire Arab region. It's the highest rated and the most proven with the highest case studies. So now we're almost 3,000 students. We have 1,150 e-commerce brands that started. And when I say brands, it's not a dropshipping store. We don't have a single dropshipping student. An actual brand where you private label or manufacture your product, you open your store, you have your stock, and you're selling online. So, and we have a lot of students who turned an e-commerce store of them into an actual store, a physical brick and mortar store. And the only reason why it grew this fast is because of the students' reviews. And that's it. We had reviews in an abnormal way because of our after-sales support. So we're the only program in the Arab region where it's one-time fee. And after it, you have lifetime support from a team of 6 experts who are trained by me and myself every week and forever. So it was really built in a way where, I want to give those students the ultimate max.
Well, the first month when you started this program, how many people they got registered and how? Because I'm just obsessed about the scalability that you have had.
Yes.
Can you take me through the phases that you have?
So I have a rule which I do in every business I start. أول ما I start, before I really expand fast, I need to get people feedback. And the only way to get people feedback is to have a pre-sale. So I did a pre-sale only for 12 days. It was 25% of the price of the program now. But at the same time, it was at least half in terms of resources, in terms of education, in terms of case studies. So we sold it. From during those 12 days, and to be honest, we then opened for 3 days on Black Friday. So it was last year, October last year was the day where we launched the course for 12 days. And then we opened it in November on Black Friday for 3 days.
At that time, you didn't still record the course, right?
No, it was
recorded?
Yes, it was recorded. But if you want a pilot chapter, يعني مثلا, like for example, now we have over 60 hours, but back then it was probably 18 hours. Like now we have over 80 ebooks. Like back then it was probably 15 ebooks. So it was a small sample. We got close to 850 students.
Wow.
Yes. In a combined of almost 15 days. And then we closed it We upgraded it. We got people's feedback. Okay, I had a lot of feedback on, like for example, in chapter 3, here it's not very understandable. Here I need more case studies. We fixed everything, and then boom, we opened on the new price, and now it's still available.
Jad, can you just share with me an inspiring story from your students that started really from nothing and became a great brand?
Amazing. So actually, the big portion of our students started from a very low budget. And even on my profile, as you see, I always shed light on my students' result. I barely talk on myself. I always try to push them. So if you go on my highlights, we now have over 900 reviews.
Wow.
And look, في a lot of stories. يعني every time I want to think of a student,
Tell me
I think
about someone that
I have
he has
someone.
nothing.
Yes, I have someone. This is one
Or
of the
doubt
most.
even, you know.
يعني هيدا he's one of the most inspiring stories of my students. Plus I had a workshop. آخر مرة I went in July على لبنان. I had a workshop. He came alone without me asking him. He took the mic and he spoke about his story. I would try to not include his name in case he doesn't want. But this guy used to work a barista in a cafe where I used to go work there as a freelancer. I used to work all day there. Even after I started my e-com business, I used to love to go work from this place. A very nice place in my country, in Beirut. So he used to be a barista. He used to make my coffee every day. And he used to see me working, I swear to God, from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. On the laptop there. He used to ask me, on what are you working, etc., etc. I'll be very honest. I'm really sorry. I did not take him really seriously. I was really, like I had a lot of work. Of course, I used to answer him every time, but at the same time, I did not feel it's for him.
Yeah.
Me. And that's where a lot of times came and went. I used to travel a lot. So I used to go there. He stopped working there. And then I learned that he started working at Starbucks. So every a month or two he comes without me knowing. He went, he purchased my course. It was back on the pre-sale price. He purchased my course and I didn't know he was there in the course. And time goes back and then, of course, like before it be a year, he talked to me on WhatsApp. I told him every time you have any question, hit me up. So he has my number. And that's where he shared a screenshot. Look, Hakik, we're here.
Yes.
I will open it, actually. Here he is. He comes.
After how many months?
Look, October, around 6 months. And what's nice, he got his first product and it failed. And that's one thing I tell people, it might not work from the first product because it's a legit business. And that's where he failed with the first product. And then he did not give up.
He was persistent.
Exactly. He did not give up. And that's where the very first message he sent me, it was here. He made in one day, his salary at Starbucks was $450 a month. In one day, he made $380. In one day. Yes. In sales. It's not a profit. A profit of half of it.
So 1 month, 1 day.
And exactly. And then
sales.
He went after a month, he sent me this. In 1 week, he made $2.3 thousand. And then there's one day where, and by the way, Heidi, it's a screenshot I took from the chat. He said, I just want to get more info about your course. I'm hugely sick of the entire situation and I'm ready for a change. I need some advice to start.
Oh my God.
It's where he told me this. I screenshotted it and I reshared it with him. And that's where he made in 1 month almost $8,000.
Oh my God. From 450 working
a month,
at Starbucks.
A month.
A month?
And yes. 2 months ago, actually August, he made $9,300 a month.
Wow.
And again, it's not easy, guys. Everyone who's hearing us here, it's not easy. It's a business. Even a nice thing, you if you go on the internet now, you cannot purchase my course. The only way how you can purchase my course is if you go on a call with a team expert. So he makes sure that you know on what you're doing. I have a script for my sales team. They have to say it. It's not a quick flip. It's a business. It might not work from the first time. We have a lot of case studies. E-commerce, A lot of people think, e-commerce works or not, e-commerce is saturated or not. E-commerce is not a business. E-commerce is a business model which enhanced the actual business. So if I want to say e-commerce gets saturated, no. The right question is businesses saturated? And the answer is clearly no, because businesses has been there min ayyam our prophets from 2,000 years. But back in the days, product trading was, I'd give you a kilogram of ash, I'd take a kilogram of milk. And then after it, we had a phase of gold coins. And then after it, we had a phase of bank transcripts, checks, up until e-commerce came, which made everything easier, which is online buying and selling. So e-commerce isn't something new. It's a business where you trade products. But the way you do it is very accessible for everyone. If you're 12 or 80, it's 90% cheaper to start. And all the information is out there on the internet. And like a small example, 20 or 30 years ago, if you wanted to buy products from China, you had to travel there and pay $5,000 to $10,000. And with the time you have, you probably can see 20 suppliers max. But now if you go to Alibaba.com with one click, you can see 50 million products. So yeah, Haidar guy, I won't say his name, is one of the most inspiring stories we had. He used to make $450. He used to have a lot of problems.
Definitely, he left his
job. He left directly. Actually, it wasn't directly. It was like almost 5 months ago. I was on this day, I sat with him. He told me I will go and resign from Starbucks. I told him it's a great decision. He went. 2 days later, he told me it got approved and done.
That's amazing, man.
That's what happened.
How much, if anybody just listening to us right now, how much do I need to have as a start to open an e-commerce? Okay. And what are the factors that I need to take it into consideration based on your experience?
Amazing. So at first, to explain, e-commerce can be made in so many ways. E-commerce as a term is buying and selling online, okay? Or trading products online. But on the front end, it's the same. You go on a site, you see a product, you add to cart, and you pay for it. On the back end, we have a lot of business models. So we have drop shipping, we have private labeling, we have manufacturing, we have Amazon FBA, etc., etc. Out of all the business models, the only business model which I hugely believe in and all of my students do, is private labeling, where we actually buy the products, we private label them under our own brands. And it's why on my program, it's called Create Your Brand. So it's actually a brand where you can go and evaluate it and sell it or like exit it after 3-4 years. So it's an actual brand. So if you're speaking about private labeling, you need to account for the inventory. So the average product which my students sell is below $10. For example, $5.
Okay.
And we have something called the MOQ, which is a least amount in where as supplier he would allow you to
buy it.
Yes. On Alibaba, most of those suppliers would allow you to at least order 100. So we're speaking around $500 to $1,000 for your batch of inventory. Alongside it, you can create your Shopify store alone for around $100 or less. Of course, you need to account for marketing, which is around $1,000 to $2,000 as the first month as a start to at least spread the word. So I would say anything between $2,000 to $4,000 is an average amount to start with one product brand with a low MOQ. Of course, you can start with $20,000, with $100,000. At the same time, you can start with $500. Example, health student in which I told you about, he told me all what I had was $500. He got a product unbranded with a very low MOQ. Like he started with 25 items. So the average amount to private label and start a brand, we would say between $2,500 to $4,000. Of course, you still have a legal fee. Like for example, here in Dubai, you need around $2,000 to have a free zone company, a trade license. In other countries, it might differ, but Haida, it's the average number to start a one product store.
How, based on that, the scalability, just 400, 500, 5,000, 10,000, 30,000. what are the factors that I can take into consideration just to scale my business from a small scale into big scale?
Amazing. So scaling your e-commerce business is actually really nice. It's not easy, but planning it is easy. So in order to scale an e-commerce business, you have two ways: horizontal scaling or vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling is having a product staying inside this country, but adding more complementary or cross-sell products into it. So I would increase the average order value, which would increase my entire sales. And scaling number two is vertical scaling, where I enter new countries. Hello, of course, it depends on the product itself. Like, for example, if you have a really heavy product, I would go for horizontal scaling because it's harder to ship it from a country to another. It's more expensive. If you have a general store with over 100 products, it's harder to go into a new country. But if you have a product which legally works in this country and bigger country, it's lightweight. After I do a market research, it proves that it works there. It's easier to vertically go and scale this product. I've tried both ways of scaling, but what's nice about e-commerce is that if you want to scale a brick and mortar store, you need to go find a new place, either buy it or rent it. You need to do decor, interior, exterior. You need staff and POS system, etc., which will cost you over $200,000, $300,000 in most cases, even more sometimes, if you don't buy a shop. In e-commerce, it's a click of a Shopify button. Of course, a lot of more factors to take into account, but it's much easier. Plus, you can actually go and sell internationally to the entire world, even if you're in one country. But I'm saying scaling in the right way, because if you want to scale from your country and sell internationally, you have to take into account at least $25 to $30 per shipment, which you won't pay and the end customer won't pay. But if you want to take your
margin,
100%. So if you want to go to a new country and be based there and take your products there and sell from there, it's very doable. It became much easier right now. Ads, for example, it's literally a click. Instead of targeting, for example, UAE, you start to target KSA with one click on your ads manager. So scaling an e-com business is very easy. I would say it's easier than how to scale a brick and mortar business.
Great. Okay. In that case, how do you select if now I have an idea? Because most probably people, maybe they have an ideas, but how do I make sure that whatever portfolios or the SKUs or the products that I have it in my mind and I have the business model for it, I want to reduce the risk of getting some inventory on hand and will not be sold. Do you have any strategies for that?
Of course. We actually have a chapter about this. If I want to highlight the most important points in this chapter, I would say step number one is to know why I want help product in this industry. So there are so many ways to actually go and start a business out choosing a product. So example, if you're a fan of skiing and you know everything about this business, you might open a business where it sells equipment for skiers because you have a passion about this, or it's like a hobby for you. But خلينا نقول, like on example, where you don't have anything, you just want to sell and make money, you don't care about which business you're selling. Step number one is to ask yourself, is it a quick flip or a brand? Because both are correct, but each one has a completely rare strategy. So a quick flip is usually a trendy product, a seasonal product. You don't have to brand it or pay a lot on the branding for it. It's a product where I just want to get quick flip, sell it fast, and make some money and close it. A brand is a brand which is there for years and years and years and years to come, which means you need to take into account the branding, your entire brand positioning, your everything related into it, and you reach a place where you get sales even if you do not run ads because of word of mouth,
the equity.
100%. So if I wanted to say that you want to find a random product, step number one is find a product. في a lot of strategies, but هذه strategy which I do. Actually, the strategy that I did for all of my previous brands is called the Arabize strategy. I don't call myself an innovator. I say it out loud. I do not call myself a smart innovator. I don't know how to innovate anything. But what I do is I find brands that are killing it in the US, in the EU, and I'd replicate it and Arabize it here. So I tweak this product a little bit. If it worked there, I do a market study here. If it works here, I Arabize it. I find a supplier for it. We tweak it a little bit and we sell it, which is okay because like most of those products aren't patented, and it's not the actual product which we're selling, but at least we're recreating the same product which they innovated. And I did this with a brand called High Smile. I don't know if you know High Smile.
Yeah, you told me.
High Smile is a brand which went super viral in the States almost 10 years ago or 8 years ago. And 3 years ago, me and my co-founder, we saw High Smile and High Smile is making $12-15 million a year. And it was just starting. And that's where we went and we Arabized it. And why did I do this? If you, like the actual main factor was, High Smile did not have a warehouse in any of the Arab countries, which means if you wanted to order from High Smile, you had to wait 2 weeks and to pay $30 extra. So I was able to private label this brand for a very low cost with a great quality, of course, after a lot of sampling and testing. And that's where we called it a new name and an Arab name. And it was the actual fastest brand, which reaches $1 million in sales from my brands, me and my co-founder's brand. But other tips, I would say, try to find products that aren't trendy or seasonal. Of course, it needs to be a hype product, but it's not like, for example, a fidget spinner. It's not a product where you build a brand behind it. It's a product where it's quick flipped. People don't care about the brand around it. You just sell it. But to open an actual brand, it needs to be a product which either is bought several times. For example, coffee, where I drink it and then I need to get
refill it again.
A refill. A toothpaste, repurchase. I use it, it ends. 2, a product which can have several products next to it as a cross-sell. Other than that, small weight products. I'm a huge fan of small weight products because it decreases the cost of shipping a lot. And what else? A product which can be scaled into neighboring countries. Like, for example, if I wanted to get a product which I'm 1,000% sure, like example, umbrellas. I doubt anyone buys umbrellas in Dubai. So I wouldn't go all in for the umbrella business. I would find on top of everything a product that solves a solution. And when I say solve a solution, there are hundreds of solutions to solve. Like if you get entertained and watch a movie, it's a problem solution. I was bored, I was entertained after that. So it's a problem. But my top 2 problems is 1, products that saves you money. Like for example, if you find a toothpaste which helps you clean your teeth, instead of using an expensive alternative, etc., etc. So either a product which saves you money, or end user money, or a product which actually solves a solution. Like for example, if you're sleeping in a bad way, it solves your posture, etc., etc. Wholly are the actual top 2 problems which I look for when finding a product. But my ultimate strategy, I'd say it out there, and I went step by step and shared it with my students, is the Arabic strategy.
It's amazing. Man, what's the legacy that you want to leave behind you?
Okay. Look, I want to try and prove to people that at one point in my life, I was probably like, I was in a huge debt, a huge family debt. I was with zero resources. I didn't have a laptop. I swear to God, I did not have a laptop. I sold it, Lando. I remember the first laptop I bought after, like when I started freelancing, I had loan from a friend. I bought I still remember it. It was red HP. It was huge اشتريته مستعمل it was used, refurbished. And I had zero resources. I had zero knowledge. I had zero money, even in debt. I didn't have anything. I was the guy who did the exact opposite of what 99% of my friends did. Plus, I made it. So I want to prove to people and know on where you are right now. Example, Ali, a guy called Ali. If Ali sits now and says, I have no money, I have zero resources, I want him to remember, it's how Jad was. And he made it. So Heidi, it's one thing I want a lot of people to remember about me after I leave.
That's amazing. Do you regret anything in life?
No. Of course, there's a lot of things which I say, here I had to do this instead of this, but it did not reach a place of regret. Although there's a lot of investments I've made, for example, which made me lose a lot of money, a lot of money. But for example, I go opt in a project which I don't know anything about. It made me lose a lot of money, but I did not reach a place where I say, no, I regretted it, because I انه everything happens for a reason. And to prove this, بال 2013 2014 everything I passed through, like me and my family, it was the worst times of my life. 4 or 5 years after it, I remember it. It's أحلى أيام حياتي. Why? Because of those days, it made me who I am today. So you never know how bad days on where it's taking you. Only God knows. And I'm pretty sure every bad thing that happens in your life happens for a reason. Because on top of it, it's God who's planning your life, and He's the best of all planners.
Lovely, man. I wouldn't say regret, but what is that thing if you have like, Prince of Persia for sure, right?
Yes.
You remember the sand of time?
A little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
If you come back by the time and you want to change something, not regret, change something, what will be that thing?
Change something. What would be that thing? Look, there's actually a mistake I've done, which there are some people around me which I over trusted. I over trusted and got backstabbed, and really got backstabbed. And the whole stories, I don't talk a lot about them because it's my mistake. I'm a true believer in everything that happens in your life is because of you. So if you had a huge bad problem, it's because you did something wrong somewhere. If you had 0 sales, it's because you did not do something enough. So it was my mistake. I'm the one who trusted them. But if I can go back in time, I wish I was a little bit more private when it comes to trusting some people. So I have a lot of people who I really trusted with everything I had, and I got backstabbed. So Heidi, it's one thing which I think I would change.
For the last question, if some entrepreneurs, they're listening to us right now, and one of them, let's say that he or she has like a great idea,
Okay.
Great innovation, tried many times to work on it, but it's not working. What's your best advice to them?
I believe that the more you fail, it's actually a good thing, because you are getting closer to the right thing. I just want to say a small thing about this. You don't have to be right every time. You just have to be right one time. So if you try 100 times and you fail 80 of them, it won't change anything. But if you're right one time only, it will change everything. So keep on trying. Keep on trying. Look, I believe in something as well. I was on a call today with my brother. We have a new project we're investing in. And he asked me a question. He told me, but we have a small problem, Behal project, we don't know from where we can source his supplier. I told him, yes. But I know people in Dubai who sourced a product مثل هيدا. So I have a rule where all what I need in life is to see it once. So if I know إنه في a person out there who's done it, there's absolutely no reason for me to not do it. So example, e-commerce. If I know e-commerce is a huge example because like we have almost 3 million e-commerce stores. But all what I need is one person to do e-commerce. If he did it, I would try with myself. But if at least I have one person who proved to the world and he can do it, there's absolutely no reason for anyone to do on what he did. So my advice to those people is that trust me about it. Trust everyone. Yani okay, I had a tough start, but there are thousands of people who had a worse start than me. And I'm pretty sure all of those people would go and do it. The best thing is consistency, because you just have to be right once. And that's it. Once only. If yes, you take it from there. How you change your life, it's all on you. And if I can add one more thing as well,
Sure.
because Heidi, it's one of the things which I really love. Please stay away from nagging. I believe nagging is the worst trait anyone can have. I would never ever hire up a nagger or partner up with a nagger. And if someone, accept no one is here to help you. If you're opening a business, expect I have 0 supporters. I have 0 support. I have 0 help. So every single thing is on you. Nobody cares about your bad days. You will find a lot of people who are trying to emotionally help you around you, but they are not responsible to take you out of the shit that you're in. I'm sorry for the word. It's all on you. So the moment you sit with yourself and you understand, truly understand, it's on me. Okay, it's on me. I have to start now. It's the day where you start to become productive. And that's mainly it.
And it's very inspiring, really.
Thank you so much.
Having you today, it's really very, very, very inspiring. A lot of insights, a lot of values. But again, I keep saying that with your vision and with your passion and with your purpose, telling you will go to a place where magic happens globally. Thank you for coming here today and looking for another episode.
Of course, it's my pleasure, man.
Thank you. Unleash is the bridge between my purpose and my mission. And my mission is unleashing the human greatness to its utmost potential.